Hello, greetings, and welcome.
Welcome back to our Body Wellness podcast.
I'm Linda,
And I'm Sophia.
and we're here today to discuss physiology and form of working out.
Yeah, we're going to be doing a little demonstration later on in the podcast. So stick around and you're going to be learning about form, things that you need to do before you start an exercise program. You have to know your machine. You have to know how to move your body because you don't want to guess your way around. You don't want to hurt your tendons. You don't want to hurt your ligaments. And you want to know what you're doing when you step into the class as well, so the instructor doesn't have to worry about you injuring yourselves.
You know what? I believe form is definitely up there on the scale of what's important when you're training.
Yes, absolutely. Form is the most important thing if you want to get the good results. You have to hold your body the way you want your body to develop.
Yes. Not only that, I love power and have been into powerlifting, even though I trained strictly as a bodybuilder, but I think it's very important. What I noticed was I always went for heavy weights, no matter what I was doing, and I lift heavy weights. However, I noticed that you can make a lightweight heavy
Yes.
simply by being strict
Yes.
and doing great form. And when you get that heavy weight, you need to be strict and have great form also.
Yes.
But that you can take much lighter weight and get the same benefit by doing, it's an isometric.
Yes.
You know?
Well, the bodybuilders are getting a workout just posing on stage.
Yes.
As long as you're squeezing your muscles, right?
That's
You have
right.
to squeeze the muscles. But it's important to know how to hold the weight and how to hold your body.
And we know not everybody here is, going to enter a show, but people want to be firm and they want to be toned, and your form is important.
Yeah, and you
This is
also
what
want
you
to be
need
safe.
to look at.
Right. If you've never worked with weights before, or if you've worked with weights but you're not sure what you're doing, and when I get a class with 30 students in it, I can't go to each and every one of them during the class and correct them to perfection. I try to give a little idea before we start the class of how they should hold their bodies. But overall, if you want to be safe while you're lifting weights, and if you're going into a gym and you want to know what you're doing, it's very important that you understand the biomechanics and the levers of your body, because the body functions on a system of levers. And like the Tower of Pisa, you don't want to be holding your body the wrong way and then you pull. Yeah, I know. And then you can pull or tear something, and tendons and ligaments take about 1.5 to 2 years to heal. It's a very long healing process, so you don't want to hurt your knees, your wrists, your lower back, your neck, your shoulders, your elbows, your ankles, your
And the key to
brain.
that,
Yeah.
the key to that is listening to yourself. Go at your own pace. Whatever
Yes.
it is you're doing, go at your own pace.
Go at your own pace, but also know how to hold your body, right? You have to know how to hold your body so that you're powerful and safe and
Firm.
And
You're
firm,
firmly
right.
planted, so you're secure. All these things are important because you are dealing with,
Right.
with weights
Yes.
in one form or another.
So basically what they're doing is they're learning how to drive the machine, right?
Correct.
I refer to the human
Correct.
body as a perfect machine. Now you know how to hold the machine, you know what to fuel the machine with, and you know how to operate the machine. And you have to visualize it when you're weightlifting or toning your body, or even doing a body sculpting class where you're using weights, resistance training of any type. You need to have a technique, right? And we'll be showing you that in a little bit. And you have to see yourself doing that technique.
And you have to know what you want to accomplish. So that's important. Before you even go into the gym, go to get a workout. What is it that you're trying to accomplish? What is it you're trying to do? And you have to believe that you can lose weight, you can get firmer, you can be toned, you can be muscular. Whatever your goal is, you have to believe you can be there. And not only that, you have to act as if you're there.
Right. You have to have a positive attitude. I mean, we've seen those people, and I've had people that were dragging into class or dragging into a training session.
Yeah.
They're like, ugh.
Yeah.
And I was like, no. Perk it up, take a deep
Yes.
breath, and let's do this.
Yes, absolutely. Because if you
yeah.
feel
Yeah.
like Sophia is saying, that's what you're going to get in.
I
They
believe
say
the word would
garbage
be
in, garbage out.
Apathetic.
Yeah, you
Right.
can't. No.
And you're swinging the weights around and you're not isolating. And when we're doing a bicep curl, you're like, well, that's not going to give anything in terms of results. Maybe it'll raise your heart rate, so now you're circulating your blood, so you don't have to be like the sedentary people. We were saying 65% of the blood when you're just sitting and not doing anything. 65% of the blood is non-oxygenated. It's in the venous system.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot of you. So basically, a lot of people are stewing in dirty blood.
Yeah.
And then the minute you start moving, even if you take a little walk, like if you're working at a desk and on the hour you get up and you walk around a little bit, then that again gets the blood flowing and moving, and you know, even lifting your legs while you're sitting at your desk doing something to pump the blood. Very important, because life is oxygen, health is oxygen.
That's right.
And you want to have as much oxygen going through your blood as possible, right?
Yeah, very important to deep breathe while you're training also. And as far as I'm concerned, all breathing should be done through the nose. Your nose filters and cleans the air that you take in. And I also exhale through the nose. I just taught myself to do it. We have the nose for breathing. There's many different thoughts about how it should be done, but I am of the camp that you inhale through your nose and you exhale through your nose.
And I will agree with you. For those of you who are not used to doing that yet, just inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth, but inhale through the nose. The mouth is not meant to, it's not meant for exercise.
No.
It's not good. It's going to dry out your throat. You're going to be coughing. You're going to, lose your mojo.
Right.
It won't work.
Exactly. The breathing through your nose also polarizes or ionizes, I should say, your blood and the air. So it's very important to inhale through your nose.
Yes.
Most certainly.
But the most important thing is that you start your program. And if you go into a gym or you go into a class and you don't know what you're doing, you don't understand an exercise, something is sharp and stabbing, you always stop at sharp and stabbing, right? Burning is good. We work our way to the burn because that's what gives you strength. You need to get to a burn. However, if something is sharp and stabbing and doesn't feel right, you have to stop immediately. If you don't know how to use a piece of equipment, if you don't know how to use the weights, ask the instructor. If you're at a gym, ask the gym. They should have someone who's going to show you how to use that equipment. Do not, under any circumstance, start lifting and pushing and pulling weight on machines that you don't understand, because you will hurt yourself, and you can hurt yourself pretty badly, and then that's completely counterproductive.
Yep.
So, technique, asking if you don't know what you're doing, taking your time, right? When you go in and out of machines at the gym, don't rush, because you can trip over something. Be aware of your environment when you're in a gym. Always look around. Be aware. Sometimes the equipment is very tight nearby. You can hit yourself. You can bruise yourself. You can bump into something. So you want to become aware of the gym. Take your time getting in and out of the machines. Take your time getting in and out of the exercises. Don't let the weight control you. You're controlling the weight. So the negative contraction, right? We have positive, isometric, and negative.
Contraction.
Right.
Yep.
So the positive contraction, for example,
There's
in the
your
bicep.
three again. You're trying.
3 again. It's a 1, 2, hold, and release the negative on a count of 4. Right? 2, 1, 4. It's not complicated, but when you're releasing the weight, don't let the weight pull you. Don't swing the weight. Oh, it's easier. Of course, I can do more weight if I go like this and I'm swinging it around. Don't do that. Everything is isolation and control of the heavy equipment.
And it's very important to listen to yourself. I said that earlier, but no matter what, even if you're with a trainer, you've got to say, is this right for my body? Should I do extra reps? Tell the trainer how you feel.
And if you have injuries.
Right.
Even old injuries, surgeries, injuries, medications, all of these things you need to tell us so that we know how to work around those problems.
I never had an injury except one time, and I didn't listen to myself, and that's how come I got injured. I was with a bunch of training partners doing leg extensions, and they pulled the pin and put on 30 pounds. Now, that's not something I would have done, because I believe you have to earn the weight, okay? It's not that I can't do it, but I'm not able to do it for reps, and that's what we were doing, reps.
Yeah.
And I didn't listen, and I hurt myself. Not going to get into that. Thankfully, it healed against what the doctor said. It got better, much better, and totally healed. But you have to listen to yourself. I never had an injury except for that one time, and I've been training many, many years. So you have to listen to what you feel and use wisdom. You know, if you haven't done a specific weight for all these reps, you're not going to all of a sudden miraculously do it now. You have to earn the right.
You gain as you gain muscle mass, hypertrophy, right? You hypertrophy, hypertrophy. How would you pronounce that? With my 3 languages, I'm sorry. Sometimes I have to switch from Romanian to French to English. But gaining the muscle size, right? That's when you increase the weight. Then you start increasing the muscle size. You start increasing the muscle fiber, and you get stronger and you get more toned.
You just naturally know when you're ready to increase the weight. But I don't think you should jump 30. At least for me, I didn't think jumping up 30 was appropriate.
Right.
I would jump up 10, 5.
Yeah. Well, usually
to go in little
increments of 10 or 15. You should be able to do 12 to 15 repetitions of an exercise with perfect form.
Yep.
And by the time you get to 13, 12, 13, 14, 15, that's when it's really hard. And when you get to 15, you reached what we call muscle failure, where your body just cannot do another rep. You're burning, you've done your job. But I think we've given you a lot of information here, but a visual is very important. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the workout studio, and I'm going to demonstrate some rudimentary weight exercises, and then you guys can refer back to this podcast. You can show your friends, you can show your family, and you can refer back to the form so that you know when you venture on your own. Of course, we can't cover everything, obviously. There are thousands of exercises, but some basic exercises that should give you an idea of how to hold your body. And so we'll see you in the studio. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back.
Largest muscle group first, and we're going to work our way to the easier, smaller, lighter muscle groups. So we're going to start with some basic squats and lunges. Everybody loves these. When you're doing your squats and lunges, I'm going to show you sideways. All right. You want to make sure that your knees don't go over your toes. Why am I saying that? Because if you're that person in class who squats like this, all you're doing is you are sending your weight into the meniscus like the Tower of Pisa, and you're going to hurt yourself. So you want to make sure that your glutes are getting worked and not your meniscus. So let's say you're going to be doing a simple squat, right? If you do a simple squat, you want to make sure that your knees here remain pointing towards the ceiling. I find that the easiest way for me to teach people is when you're squatting, just stick your butt back and come back up, right? So don't worry so much about keeping your body straight. Not everybody can do that. Not everybody has flexibility in their shins. You are working the glutes when you're doing a squat. So the main thing is you want to make sure you go down and you come back up and squeeze, right? You go down and you come back up. And if you look over here, the angle as I go down, right? It's a straight angle. My knees are pointing towards the ceiling. Same thing if you're going to be doing lunges. 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. Remember, when you're doing these, you want your back leg to be aligned with your front. So you want your toes in the same direction. Why am I saying toes in the same direction? If your toes are not in the same direction, okay, the wrong way to do it would be for your back leg to be like this. And when you come down and you come back up, you're bending your knee off hinge. Your knees are like a door hinge. If you're doing this, you're hanging off the door hinge the wrong way. Same thing if you allow your knee to go over your toe. So this is wrong, right? You don't want to be the one lunging this way. You want to align your toes in the same direction. And when you come down, same principle that we did for the squats. You want to make sure your knee remains pointing up towards the ceiling, and you come up. You don't want to come forward. You don't want your knee over your toe. You want to make sure that the knee is straight, so you come down and you come up. You can squeeze your glutes at the same time. Toes are pointing in the same direction. You go down and you bring it up. And you lunge and you bring it up, right? Very nice and easy. and you go as low as you can. If you have knee problems, don't come all the way down, right? Protect your knees. Protect your knees. You can squeeze and get a good workout coming only halfway down. If you have healthy knees, then you can go all the way down and come back up, and make sure you squeeze your glutes. Don't lock your joints. Along that same line, we're going to do the hamstrings. So when you're doing hamstrings, don't lock your knees. You don't want to be like a Barbie doll, right? Knees are slightly soft, and you come down with a straight back. So the wrong way to do it would be to lock your knees and round your back. So you see people doing like this, going like this, waste the time, risk of injury in your lower back. What you want to do is you want to be nice and straight. And when you come down, about half an inch of a bend in your knees, and straight back, shoulders back, and come back up. So your back is straight, your neck is straight. You come down, and you come back up, and then you squeeze everything back, right? You come down, straight, straight back, and you bring it back up. See, my back is straight, straight back, not rounded, straight, right? You want to make sure you bring your shoulder blades together. So that's a rudimentary knowledge to have for your lower body. When we move on to upper body, a couple of more ideas here. When you're doing your flies, right, for the shoulders, right? The shoulder does not go any higher than this to the side. It goes up here, it goes up here, but the way the shoulder is designed, it is not meant to break the horizontal line. Do not break the horizontal line when you're going all the way to the side to do your flies, right? And also don't keep your elbows locked, slightly rounded. You bring it up and you bring it down. So you've got your positive contraction, which is 1, 2. You hold it and you release, count to 4. 1, 2. You hold and you release, count of 2. Up, hold, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. So that's a safe way to do the shoulders. When you do your shoulder presses, right? What you don't want to do with the shoulder press is, the wrong way to do it is to go like this, right? You don't want to go like this. If you get a side view, you don't want to go like this. You're stressing your neck. You want your eyes to gently follow. So if you're going to do an overhead press, you start with your chin straight, looking forward, and then you slightly look up. And then you bring the weights almost down to your shoulders, to your jawline, and you push them up. And then you bring it down, and you push them up. While you're doing this, you want to keep your whole body nice and tight, right? And you bring it up. So that is the correct way to do it, so you don't have neck problems when you're done exercising. And then we're going to move on to some arms. If you are going to be doing a tricep on the stretch, right, over here, if you want to keep your elbows forward, and you want to bring it up, and bring it up, and boom. So don't go too far to the side this way. Try to keep your elbows on an angle. Follow the lines of your body, and bring them up, and go all the way back, and bring them up. And then you can move on to the other tricep exercise, where you are leaning forward, and you want to keep your elbow up, and you just want to kick back, right? So we're just kicking back here. You bring it back and forward. When you're doing your tricep kickbacks, don't do one of these swinging around. Isolate. You bring it up, and then you bring it to the hip. And you squeeze it back, and you bring it to the hip. Now, all of these, you do 12 to 15 repetitions, squeezing and isolating the muscle. You got to get in there and really feel the muscle working. Up, and bring it in. And then the biceps, of course, when you're doing your bicep curls, you don't want your arms to be hyperextended. You want them slightly bent. So you're going to bring the weight up, and you're going to release to the thighs. Full range of motion. You bring it up, and when you get up here, give it a little tweak, right? You're almost bringing your pinky, right? And then release it. Bring them up, squeeze the biceps, and release them down. And squeeze the bicep, and release them down. So these are just rudimentary moves, but if you've never done it, or if you're doing it and you're not doing it correctly, you want to make sure that you're capitalizing on all your time at the gym. You don't want to hurt yourselves, and you want to know exactly what you're doing, so you isolate the muscle. And let's do one more here. Let's do a row. You can lean forward and row, bring it back, and release forward. And row it back, and release it forward. And row it back, and release it forward. And one more time, bring it back, and release forward. So now you've got a rudimentary idea of some of the form that we are going to be using when we do the classes. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to email me or email Linda. Get in touch with Body Wellness. And we hope to see you next time for our next podcast. Thank you for joining me.